with me, Nandita Khemka. The color red continues to dominate the screen ahead of Holi. One was hoping that we would end the day in the green, and here on we could see some more green on the screen, but that was not to be. We started the day on a positive note, as has been the case over the last few sessions. We saw a dip. We tried to recover, but at least for today, we managed to break below that crucial support level of 22,450, which we had very smartly defended over the last few sessions despite all the global turmoil. But today, not just 22,450, even 22,400 got taken out, although we hit a high of 22,558 or thereabouts, but couldn't really sustain or hold on to those gains. Today, that recovery that we end up seeing in the last hour of trade didn't really come by. So we have ended the day below that 22,400 mark. Mid and small caps were underperforming today. The small cap index was down by 1% or so. Advanced decline ratio in the first half, at least, it was skewed in favor of gainers, but completely changed. And then we had the NSE advanced decline ratio at 1:2, favoring losers. Top drags were autos, IT, metals, and realty. IT, of course, saw a big drubbing yesterday, and today as well, it was extending those losses despite a good recovery on the Nasdaq overnight. Banks managed to outperform today. The PSU Bank Index, in fact, ended with gains of somewhere around 0.5% or thereabouts. But if you talk about the weekly performance, the Nifty has seen a week of consolidation, 0.5% lower, and that's not too bad if you compare it with what happened with the US market. So we've outperformed the US market this week, and we've managed to just about see cuts of 0.5% or thereabouts, which isn't that much in comparison to the global markets. Mid cap index and small cap index, both of them were down in excess of anywhere between 2 to 4%. So yes, the pain in the broader markets continues. Sectorally, this week IT was the big laggard. No surprises for guessing, because yesterday only we saw 3% cut. So for the week, Friday to Thursday, the Nifty IT index has lost almost 5%. Of course, there are concerns of recession in the US, and that could hurt revenue growth for some of these IT names. So yes, IT was under pressure. PSU banks also lost somewhere around 2.5% this week, but today, of course, saw some bit of green. Autos were also among the big laggards today, and so was realty, although realty did see a good move somewhere in the middle of the week. But on the whole, for the week, it's down 2% also, and even metals for that matter, 1.5% down on the Nifty metal pack for the week. For today's session, if you look at the gainers, Bharat Electronics, SBI, some of the private banking names like ICICI Bank were among gainers. Sun Pharma Cipla also managed to gain. On the flip side, you had Shriram Finance, Hero Motocorp, Tata Motors, saw a good recovery yesterday, but couldn't really sustain that. And once again, the stock was among the laggards on the Nifty, and Hindalco was the other one. Even from the broader end of the markets, you had some of the notable names that saw a fair bit of selling. PB Fintech, Bharat Forge among them. But what did well was MRPL, and some of the other names like Data Patterns and Godfrey Phillips were among the gainers. Well, that was all about the market action today and for the week. But how does the chart pattern look like going forward? Of course, it is a truncated week today, being the last working day of the week. But how should you really be positioned for the next week now in the face of all this volatility? For that, let's understand how the chart setup is looking like and get on board Jay Thakkar, Head Derivatives and Quant Research at ICICI Securities. Jay, lovely having you. Wishing you a very, very happy Holi. We were hoping to see some green, but that's not the case. Again, the color red dominating the screens. But important point is we've broken below 22,400, which we managed to defend very smartly. Here on, do you see more pressure now that 2200 22,400 mark has been taken out on a closing basis?
Hi, Nandita. Thanks, and wish you and all the team members of Money Control and all the viewers of Money Control as well a very, very happy Holi and a safe Holi. And from my side as well as on behalf of ICICI Securities. Now, yes, Nandita. I mean, had it been in the positive side closing, had it been a green closing, obviously the mood would have been a better. But then, I think that, it's festivals and one has to keep the market aside that point of time. So I think, I just wish that going forward this year, closes in the green. So let's be hopeful that we get a green color for the yearly closing if you have not got the day before. But then, yes, 22,400 on a closing basis,
Hmm.
it has managed. See what has happened. I would say most of the things, or many things, you have highlighted what has happened during the week. I would also like to add that globally what has happened, and if you see in the past couple of weeks, last week and this week, wherein Dow has been falling, or the U.S. markets have been falling, they are underperforming the
Hmm.
global markets. The Indian markets are somehow not following that weakness. So somehow we are managing to hold on to that 21,900 to 22,000 range. I think that the decoupling which started from October 24 is still continuing. So wherein we were underperforming, rest all the globe was outperforming, and now US is underperforming, and we are like not correlating the day-on-day move with the US. In fact, we do open negative, but then we managed to close somehow at the high levels only. What has also happened, Nandita, is that in last 1.5 months is that the IVs have cooled off in India. The India which has cooled off in budget day in the recent fall of almost 2,000 points on Nifty, 1,800 to 2,000 points on Nifty, we haven't seen a hike or a spike in volatility or the IVs. Okay, so that's remain, and that's unusual. I mean, generally when you see markets coming down, the IVs or the India which should go up. Now, this is something unusual which is kind of providing comfort that there is a possibility of further bounce back till 22,800 to 23,000. I'm not seeing anything beyond 23,000 as of now because we have seen a death crossover wherein 50 DMA has crossed the 200 DMA, so it's a death crossover technically, and there you have a resistance at 23,000 or 50
Hmm.
DMA. So another 300 to 500 points of move is what you can see for the next weekly expiry at least. And I think that CB reversed from 29.5 to 30 in US. Now, generally around 30, 32, 33 levels, you generally tops out and you see that bull market correction. Beyond that, if it goes, then it will not be a case of a bull market correction. It might start a bear market there. That could be a hint, I would say, historically. So I just hope that if CBOE weeks has cooled off,
Hmm.
probably, if DXY, the kind of you have seen from 110 to 103, the falling crude which you have seen. So these all of things are actually comforting right now for a bounce back. So for me and even looking at the current options data, I mean, if you see the next weekly expiry, there you've got 22,000 as a good put base, good amount of OI right on next weekly expiry as well as the monthly expiry. So 20th March as well as 27th March, both have 22,000 as the highest OI. So that is the very critical support until those levels are held.
Hmm.
Probably we will see 23,000 going forward. And next weekly expiry, if you monthly expiry, if you see then where we are right now, 22,400 Nandita, 22,500 as the highest, second highest wide.
Hmm.
I mean, wherein both concentration is there. So I think more or less a sideways 1,000 points range, or maybe sideways to positive bias is what I have till 22,000 levels are held on Nifty.
Hmm. Okay, sideways to positive bias till 22,000 holds on the Nifty. So not sounding very bearish. So we'll take heart from that. And of course, you mentioned that 23,000 could also be a possibility in the coming days. But let's talk about the Nifty Bank Index, which has managed to outperform. So to say today, the Nifty PSU Bank Index as well not had a great week, but today saw some bit of green. Talk about the entire banking pack, in particular, IndusInd Bank 30% cut for the week. In fact, even a little more than that, so to say. But is the worst over? Chartically, is it too much in the oversold zone, extreme oversold zone? Where is the way forward now on the charts for an industry bank in particular?
So see, as far as Bank Nifty is concerned, I would say private sector banks are looking overall as an index. Nifty Private Sector Bank Index is looking positive overall because we've got a good weightage of HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank, ICICI Bank, and all of those, right? So the Nifty Private Sector Bank Index is looking positive, and if you see Kotak Bank is like just at an inflection point. I mean, the 2,000 is the level where highest fall base, and that's the level since above which it has hardly closed since 2021. So it's been almost more than 4 years wherein Kotak is
Hmm.
struggling to move 2,000 levels. If that happens, if I no, I would not be able to comment on ICICI due to compliance issues, but if HDFC bounces back to 2,000 levels, then I think that Kotak Bank will be able to bounce back to that level. So I think that is the very critical support until those levels are held. the 26% or 30% fall in an IndusInd Bank has hardly mattered to a bank Nifty because the other private sector banks have moved up. So the weightage is
Hmm.
out there is also high. See, as far as IndusInd Bank is concerned, I would say, Nandit, for me, technically, if I have to speak, then the reversal is actually above the levels of 900 only. Why? Because if we saw a gap down on account of the news which
Hmm.
broke out
Yeah.
or came out of industry as far as the audit is
Hmm.
concerned and corporate governance issues are concerned. So a day prior to that is what
Hmm.
you have a close of around 900 to 950. So if things have to basically consider, if you have to consider that prices are discounting now that those things are left behind and now we have to move on. For that, the prices have to move beyond those levels, right? Psychologically. So that would be 900 levels.
Hmm.
So IndusInd Bank is able to manage to take off 900 means all the cut which we saw prior to audit issues, if that loss is made means things are
Hmm.
bottom to be, technically. And we have
Okay.
already seen good shorts, yeah,
Hmm.
got build up there. Seen some short covering happening, but not all of it. So derivative point of view, there is no such indication that okay, stock has bottomed out. Technically, too, you will get a confirmation about 900. So for me, as of now, it's an avoid kind of a
Hmm.
stock. Whereas in a
Hmm.
private sector, to buy something, it would be really Kotak Bank, which is just at the crux of providing a breakout. About 2000,
Hmm.
and definitely good chance, and it's right near to that.
Okay, that's the word. 900 will be a crucial level to watch out for confirmation on whether the stock has actually bottomed out or not on IndusInd Bank, of course, and avoid right now. A lot of brokerages have also charted out, targets in the range of 800 to 900 on IndusInd Bank. But the other big pocket that was in news this week was IT, of course, growing concerns of a recession in the US and how it will impact revenues, and of course there will be a delay in recovery in consumer discretionary spends as well. So yes, lots of woes for IT as a pocket. But would that be a shorting candidate? The IT pack and stocks from the IT pack for the coming weeks.
When the previous two falls of Nifty from 26,300 to 23,300 and thereafter from 24,800 to 22,800, I mean, wherein Nifty first fall initially by 3,000 points
Hmm.
and thereafter 2,000 points, IT outperformed. In the recent fall, that's really worsted. I mean, it has like given up all its and gain or outperformance and then matched the fall in Nifty. So that's the index which has fallen at last. Okay, at the end, I would say after all the other sectors having fallen quite a lot. So now you have Bank Nifty as the outperformer. So Nifty IT, I mean, see, major culprit out here has been recently Infosys, wherein we are continuously seeing short build up. Nandita, I mean, right from I would say February series, Infosys has in fact spoiled the mood out
Hmm.
there when you have seen good amount of shorts, and there is no such evidence of a short covering there. So I think that till we don't get that evidence, I mean, I agree to you that yes, it's quite oversold. So probably if someone wants to initiate fresh shots, probably the risk reward will not favor, right? But if someone wants to go long, taking a contra back,
Hmm.
for that there is no confirmation as well. Okay, so one can look out for those opportunities definitely for a confirmation, but the overall trend, I would say, for the medium term looks very negative as far as IT is concerned because that's the recent one which has got hit. And now,
Hmm.
I mean, there has been concerns over a lot of AI things as well. I mean, how the industry is going to shape up, and till Nasdaq doesn't stabilize, I mean, after 10 plus years of huge outperformance,
Hmm.
I think it is that IT might not even perform for a couple of months or quarters, and other sectors which are quite beaten down and are available at a very good valuations probably might be, I would say, chosen or maybe, what do you say, given preference as compared to IT.
Hmm. Okay, that's the view then. But some of the other newsmakers I want to draw your attention to are the likes of PB Fintech. The stock is down 10% in a matter of two sessions. Of course, there are concerns over capital misallocation, given the fact that the company will be investing 696 crore rupees in its healthcare arm. Uh, you know, Even if you look at the monthly returns, it's lost somewhere around 20%, right? Negative 20% returns over the last 1 month YTD basis as well. But with the recent leg of sell-off, this current leg of sell-off, in which it has seen a 10% downtick in the last 2 days, do you see the start of a fresh bout of selling, as in the floor goes lower for this particular stock, PB Fintech? How would you be positioned on this for the coming week?
See, definitely, Ranjit. I mean, the time since these stocks have actually entered into derivatives, most of the stocks, see, I mean, 40 or 45 plus stocks actually entered into derivatives in the December series, and then few of them enter into Jan and many others in Feb. I mean, all of these stocks are getting beaten down. And the policy bazaar has seen a good short build up out there. I mean, almost like I said, as far as I
Hmm.
see, almost 50 or 60 lakhs kind of shares are there in the open interest, which means that almost like 56 lakhs to 60 lakhs shares are in shorts in PB Fintech, and there is no such reversal technically as well. So overall, the outlook is negative. In fact, even from the valuation point of view, I found it quite relatively costly. And then if when you get a chance, when the stock gets introduced into derivatives, it becomes quite easier to basically take the advantage of those stocks which are quite overbought,
Hmm.
maybe overvalued, to be hedged in a way, or maybe to taken as a short side opportunities. So PB Fintech is one of them. I think the critical support level for this would be going forward 1200 levels. Which is still, I think, 10% away. I mean, if it comes to those levels, it would be a good contra bat kind of a level. One can take it there. Right now, there is no such indication. I mean, the overall trend is negative, and we have seen good shorts. There is no short covering seen as well.
Okay, that's the view on BB Fintech. 1200 would be a critical support level for the stock. The other stock that was fretting in trade today was Bharat Forge. The US Environmental Protection Agency has announced a rollback of some environmental regulations. Now, they plan to reconsider over a dozen rules and regulations, and they also plan to reconsider the vehicle emission standards. Now, Elara Securities says that the company was banking on these regulations to boost their revenues in the second half of FY26 and the first half of first quarter of FY27. But if those regulations are reconsidered and there are any changes made to them, then that positive impact will not be seen. I think, which is why the stock was down somewhere around 4% or thereabouts. But the stock itself has seen a fair bit of correction. In tandem with the correction that we've seen in the broader markets, the stock has seen a fair bit of correction. So Bharat Forge, what is the next support level here that you'll be watching out for after today's sell off?
Well, Nandita, I would say the stock is just not seeing any recovery. I mean, meaningful recovery. In fact,
Hmm.
the open interest is tripled. When the stock was trading at its lifetime high at around the 1800 or levels, wherein the OI was around 50, 60 lakhs. Now it has gone up to almost 1.5 crores. So you can see that it has tripled, and the stock has fallen from 1800 to probably, now at 1100 or so, almost by 500 points, which makes it around 30% correction approximately, Nandita. And that is all account of short covering. So we have to see long unwinding. It was a very clear shorts that got built up out here in the stock. Still, we are not seeing any significant short covering out here, and hence the stock is also not witnessing any recovery in the prices. In fact, whatever short gets covered gets again rebuilt very soon, even after a minor bounce back in the stock. So I think that till you don't get a meaningful impact,
Hmm.
honestly, there was a chance of the stock in fact bouncing back recently. Technically, it formed a good inverse head and shoulders pattern as well, but that got failed. So that's even not working, on
Hmm.
account of the news which got broke out. So I think going forward, 1100 and 10, 1120 would be a critical support, critical resistance level to watch out for. I mean, above those levels, if stock manages to surpass and trade about 1110, 1120, I mean, you can consider that there is
Hmm.
a good chance of going thereafter. Else, it might just slip back to 1000 levels, which is the immediate support level.
Hmm. Okay, immediate support level of 1000 on a Bharat Forge. But let's talk about some stocks that have managed to weather the storm pretty well. DMart would be one. Although last 1 year, of course, hasn't been all that great, but on a YTD basis, the stock has managed to hold its show metal, so to say. 7% up on a YTD basis. Of course, it did get that booster shot post budget as well, when those tax cuts were announced by the finance minister. And in the last 1 month, the stock has also seen a good 3% uptick. Today, of course, the stock was up and about. a 3% up move. 3,794 is where it's at. In the very near term, do you see this stock clearing 4,000?
Well, see, since it has actually entered into the XNO series, I have seen most of the time the OI
Hmm.
has gone up and the prices have rather, I would say, since December, uh, actually has fallen. I mean, if the start of the December, if you see, the prices actually, then it has fallen, but not much. So, moreover, you can see that there is a very, very critical
Hmm.
support at around the level of 3,500 on demand. I mean, and obviously, as you said, that since budget, the consumption thing is there. I mean, and the overall Nifty,
Hmm.
FMC index, you say, or maybe consumer durable index, you say, all of them are quite oversold, and there has to be some rebound, and there has to be some benefit out of this. After all, there is a recovery in the markets. I mean, inflation numbers are also positive for India. I mean, those have come down. The IIP number has improved, so there is a good chance of a rate cut. So rate cut plus, the kind of announcement which FM has done and already look a lot of shorts build up in the overall sector. There's a good chance of these stocks or sectors, in fact, bouncing back sharply. And as far as demand is concerned, until 3,500 levels are held, then these are 4,100 looks on cards. So yes, I mean, you can see another 10% of uplift from current levels as well.
Hmm. Okay, another 10% up move from current levels can be anticipated on a DMART. But the last stock I want to discuss with you today is Gensol. This stock has been grabbing headlines. In fact, if you look at the overall performance, stock is down 80% from its highs. There was news flow today that the company will be raising 600 crore rupees to strengthen its balance sheet. There were concerns of high debt, falsified documents, downgrades pouring in from everywhere. So yes, the stock has been, in the news for all the wrong reasons, so to say. In the last 1 week itself, the stock has shaved off 20%. What do you do with this stock now?
So honestly speaking, this is not in the derivative, so I'm not able to provide the derivatives. When even looking at technically, I mean,
Hmm.
it's trading lifetime low. I mean, the stocks which are trading at a lifetime low, to provide a
Hmm.
technical it was very difficult. All I can say, Nandita, from my experience as far as the markets are concerned, I can comment that way. Considering those things is that whenever a stock comes into radar on account of corporate governance issues, or maybe the accounting issues, frauds,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
whatever of that. I mean, whatever it is, it's always better to be away from those stocks that you are invested. I
Hmm.
mean, it's always to switch to some other stock in that particular sector, or maybe some other positive sector which is likely to perform going forward. And I mean, book the loss once. I mean, forget about it. And there can be a case that the entire thing can
Hmm.
be recovered. I mean, but then there can be a case where it can go to 2 rupees, three
Sure.
rupees also, and a lot of such stocks or events in past, maybe ILFS case, maybe Harcom case, maybe Yes Bank case, and you see
Hmm.
the Vodafone. There are so many such. I mean, and there are hardly you will find that okay, it has gone from 2 rupees and back to 1,000
Right.
rupees. So, I mean,
Hmm.
if you see the offers are not in favor. So when these kind of things happen, I think stay away when in doubt.
Better to stay away. The point taken, Jay. But before I let you go, what is catching your attention now in this volatility, in these volatile times? What are you keeping on your radar for the next couple of weeks? Any recommendations for our viewers?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Nandita, I have a couple of recommendations. And see, as I mentioned that till 22,000 levels are held, the probability that Nifty bounces back to 22,800, 23,000 is there. Hence, I have a couple of buy recommendations. And first one would be on a Reliance. See,
Hmm.
Reliance is already bounced back to 1250 levels approximately. But from here on to, I think that 1300, 1320 levels are quite likely in the March series because we have seen good put addition at 1200, 1220, and all of those levels. We have seen a good recovery technically. It may provide a record falling wedge pattern, a positive divergence, momentum crossover, and we have seen short covering happening there. Earlier, their shorts had been covered, the price did not go up. Now the shorts have been covered, so the probability of stock bouncing back to 1320 is quite high. So I think that the stop loss below 1220 on a closing basis and targeting 1320 would be a good risk reward for the March series. That's one. Point two, second stock would be, I mean, you can choose either REC, PFC, or either both of them. I mean, the REC has seen record shocks. And what we are seeing technically is the likely chances of a formation of a bullish inverse head and shoulders patterns in the momentum indicators are well in bind over the chances of a breakout The upside is quite high. It's trading around the levels of 404. So I think that
Hmm.
455, 25 looks quite possible. I mean, from the point of view of short covering, and PFC has already seen short covering. It's trading around the levels of 388. So it may bounce back to
Hmm.
400, 410 levels. So both REC, PFC from the power finance looks positive. As a disclaimer, I would say that we have a buy recommendation already to our clients on NTPC. NTPC looks good. So this overall theme of power finance looks
Hmm.
positive. PHEL look positive because capital goods sector also from the private sector or public sector looks positive. So BHEL trading around levels of 193 can bounce back to 205, 210. So that also looks positive. And finally, I would say that PSU Bank, maybe Bank of Baroda, Can Bank, both of them are looking positive from current levels,
Hmm.
29, 25% of opening, keeping a stop loss of around 3%, so you can get a good risk of 1:2. So my more focus you can see is on PSU banks, power sector, power finance, and that also on the PSU side. And then Kotak Bank, I've already mentioned about 2,000 you can go long.
Hmm.
And finally was the land. So these are the
Right.
couple of stocks where you take the advantage of a bounce back of whenever it comes on Nifty by 300 to 500 points.
All right, quite a few recommendations coming in from Jay. Jay, with that, would like to thank you, and of course, would like to wish you a very happy Holi once again. Have a great long weekend, and then we will contend with what happens in the market next week as usual. But yes, it's a good 3 day holiday. Have a good one, and wish you a happy and safe Holi.
Thank you so much, Nandita, for warm wishes, and I reciprocate the same. And looking forward for more such interactions going forward as well. Thank you.
For sure, Jay. Thanks a lot for taking out time this afternoon and joining in. Always appreciate your taking your coming on the show. Well, with that, of course, we've come to the end of Closing Bell, ending the day and the week in the red. So that's the color that is dominating the screens ahead of Holi. No semblance of green, but it isn't all that bad because the cuts weren't as deep if you compare it with the global markets, in particular the US markets. So, yes, week of consolidation, almost a percent kind of cut on the Nifty. But as Jay was mentioning, as long as 22,000 holds, there is hope, and we could see 23,000 as well on the charts in the coming weeks. But with that, completely timed out on Closing Bell. Wishing all of you who have tuned in a very, very happy and safe Holi. Have a good one. Have a great weekend. And of course, come back and join us on Monday morning at the usual 9 a.m. on Opening Bell. But for now, it's a goodbye from me and the entire team. Have a great evening. Thank you for tuning in.